Hello and welcome to the Let's Play of Yu Yu Hakusho, the finals. I swear this is not even all the finals. This is everything but the final match of the finals. Because I got to it and just went, oh hell no! This Let's Play, if you can look at the time code here, it's like, wow, 23 minutes, that's pretty long. Yeah, I played for like an hour. This isn't even the whole thing. I'm so sad right now. Okay, I gotta talk about this. I did this match with Karasu is uncut. The matches with the upcoming matches with Bui and Elder Toguro are cut down significantly. But you will get to see this one in its entirety. I think it was like 6 minutes of trying to figure out how to beat this guy. But I didn't. In my defense, I didn't practice at all. I just went into this cold and worked at it till I could figure out what worked. God. Okay, so first I thought, well, if I can freeze Karasu, I'll be fine. Because, as you notice, I do a lot of something that I didn't do in previous matches because they were so easy, or even the one with Suzaku was relatively easy. And that's guard. Just sitting on the ground and putting my dukes up. You'll see me doing that a lot in this match, is because the finals are insane. They're really hard to beat. Every single one of these guys is just, whoa. So, yeah, what Karasu will do, I guess I should give some background on Karasu from the show, but first I'll say in the game, the only hitch to this match is the only way you can harm Karasu is in Yoko form, in this white, pure demon form. But that's, everything else is kind of open. It's just that, as you can see here, I was kind of tentative to attack because if you run up and attack Karasu, he's really good with combos. He will beat the shit out of you. But if you just back up, you can tell he also has this distance attack. Now, the gimmick for Karasu in the show, basically, was that he attacked people. Basically, the way that they saw it in the ring, saw him fighting, was he would go up and touch people, and they would die. They would explode. He would just walk up to his opponents, touch them, and they blew up. And so Kurama obviously is very frightened by this, and the reason that Karasu wanted to fight Kurama specifically is Karasu's kind of a it puts the lotion on its skin kind of guy. He's very creepy. He's very this was one of, I think, Kyle Hebert's first roles that wasn't Dragon Ball Z, and it's very fucking creepy. He basically comes up to him and he says, you're very beautiful, Kurama, and he's like, thank you. And he's like, when I see something that I find beautiful, it's, I want to take it apart. I want to destroy it. I want to make it my own. And as he's saying this, he's sort of walking toward Kurama, and Kurama's like, don't get too close. And then, boom, he's suddenly behind him. He, teleports behind him and gently puts his hands around Kurama's neck and starts caressing his hair and stuff. It was creepy shit. Because we've seen that all this guy has to do, now, as you can see what I'm doing here, is spamming the why won't you die move in a desperate attempt to kill him. It doesn't really work. He still kills me here, as you can see. Yeah, there we go. Because I found it pretty scary, too. So, yeah, but we've seen in the past that Kurama can just touch people and they'll explode. So that scene where he's sort of touching Kurama's neck and playing with his hair and everything, and Kurama can't do anything but just sort of stand there, was really creepy. You kind of knew he wasn't going to kill him because he had to save it for the ring, but, ugh. So Karasu is kind of, I guess they don't really give him a background, but he's kind of one of those guys that's become psychopathic and lost all faith in life and just kind of takes pleasure out of destroying beautiful things. And Kurama, of course, is the prettiest member of the team, so there you go. Not much more to him than that. Now, they don't show you here his alternate mode of fighting or his alternate, I guess before I talk about that, before I talk about the big twist of this match, what it was, is my method for trying to defeat him. Originally, I thought, okay, well, I'll hit him with a Seed of the Death Plant, make him freeze, and then while he's frozen, I'll turn into Yoko and beat him up. But as you can see, this never worked. He always guarded against that. And so I was like, well, great. Also, the sound goes really out of sync here, so just ignore the sound for a while. Up through the Bui stuff, I don't know why. The sound went horribly out of sync. It was the capture software, I guess. But anyway. So, I knew I could only hurt him as Yoko, so I was like, well, I'll freeze him, and then I'll turn into Yoko and beat him up. Piece of cake. No, you couldn't freeze him. So I had to turn into Yoko, but while I'm turning into Yoko, as you could probably notice, there were several points where he would just hit me with his long-distance attacks. which was the secret of the show as to why he could touch people and make them explode, is he actually has these little demon bombs. They look pretty ridiculous when Kurama kind of goes into his Yoko form and can actually see what they look like. They look really silly, but they're these little green demon bombs, and they're invisible to normal human eyes, so, or even most demon eyes, so he had to be a really strong demon in order to see them. And, but yeah, that's all there were. It was just invisible bombs, so it wasn't all that special. But yeah, going back to this, he can use those invisible bombs at you from a distance, but if you get up close to him, as you can tell, he's quite well versed in combos here. So at this point, you can see that I'm just chickening out, and whoa, boom. See, that's the big explosion. I make women and children go boom. No, that wasn't Kylie Bear doing that part, but still. Similar characters, Kimberly and Karasu. So yeah, you're gonna see me, look, I'm pussing out in this match by just cowering on the ground and guarding like a little girl because I'm so scared of getting hit. And also the sound is probably out of sync here, I apologize. So at some point I decided, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to transform into Yoko, and I'm going to spam all the moves I can possibly spam in order to kill him. Also, another thing, if you notice that this, we're past this now, but at the beginning of the match, I kept running toward him and not attacking. The reason for that is I was trying to do the Death Ray move, and I was using the wrong button. And so I wasted a lot of match time at the beginning doing that nonsense. There we go. I think that's the final, yeah. So I just beat him. Alright. Now, I'm going to talk about this briefly, since we're already past this match, but the way that Kurama ultimately beats Karasu is he does assume his demon form through this magic something or other that somebody gives him before the finals. And, he knows he only has a small amount of time to be in it, so he activates this death monster plant, which you may have seen in some of the previous matches, but not in this one. See what I mean? It's really out of sync. I don't know what's wrong with it. And this death monster plant does the same thing that Karasu's bombs did. It follows motion. Wherever anybody goes, it's you know, follows you. So he says, you know, the more you move, Karasu, he says, unless you stay frozen, you're not going to win this. So Karasu had to stay in one place. Karasu gets angry, and he rips off his mask. And, I will talk about this match in a minute, but I'm finishing up with Karasu. He rips off his mask, and as it turns out, the way that he pulled in energy or something, it's been a while since I've seen this, the way that he pulled in energy or whatever was inhibited by his mask, and so once he pulls it off, he just turns into an explosive, radioactive body of death. So so he's running around, everything's exploding, his hair turns to sort of bright gold, it's sort of a Super Saiyan thing going on. And, so it kind of gets to the point where he kind of doesn't care if he dies or not, just so long as he kills Kurama with him. And he surrounds Kurama in this matrix of bombs so that, the same thing, if he moves, he instantly blows up. The reason he can do this is by this time Yoko has changed back, and the plant that he had tried to kill Karasu with didn't work. So he's completely helpless, he's back in human form, and so he's surrounded him with these bombs. And he eventually beats him by summoning up this, I guess, plant that sucks his blood out. It comes out of the ground, and it jabs Karasu in the chest, and it sucks all the blood out of his body. But because of the rules, because of how long he was down for the 10 count, it was technically Karasu won the match. So Karasu was dead and victorious, and Kurama was alive and had lost, so it was kind of weird. Anyway, moving on to Bui here. Bui is kind of a sympathetic... Now, I am going to eat my words for this, I'm sure, but I swear I looked up that Bui was voiced by Vic Mignogna. And I know you're going to listen to his voice and say, that's not Vic Mignogna. Well, apparently it is. They just altered his voice completely. They made it really low, because he's got an artificial sounding voice, but that's him, I guess. I mean, that's what I read. So there you go. So that'll be officially the most foreign voice Vic Mignogna has ever done, because for the most part his voice is very recognizable. Probably the most recognizable voice in dubbing. It's like, oh, that's Vic. All he has to do is gasp. All he has to do is an extra and a crowd that goes, hey, look there. And you're like, oh, it's Vic. He's very recognizable. So what I did for this match is, as you may have noticed, you can't get any distance from Bui. Alright, now this is where the Bui match really starts, I would say. As you notice, it just sort of stopped. I didn't beat him. I got him down to a quarter health, and it froze. And what happens in the match here is, which Kodo said at the beginning, size doesn't matter in this match. It's true. Bui is enormous and Hiei is very tiny. And they begin to fight, and Hiei blocks all his moves. Basically, Bui throws this enormous axe at him. And he says, come on, fight me. And we're like, and Hiei's like, Hiei's companions are like, what are you doing? Just kill him. If you have the upper hand, just kill him. And he's like, no, I want to see him at his full power. And they're like, Hiei, no. So Bui's like, okay. And he takes off all his armor. He's going to explain here. His armor isn't protecting him, it's protecting other people. Bui is such a, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, like a hot spot of spiritual energy and strength that he kind of can't control his own power. It's this, yeah, it's that scar in his forehead lights up when it's in his eyes, light up when there's a large amount of spiritual energy brimming underneath the surface and ready to explode out and kill things. So the armor is actually to keep his power contained, not to protect him. And so people go, oh, and Hiei goes, oh, and, you know, it was a bad idea. So what I tried to do at the beginning of this match was summon up the Dragon of the Darkness Flame and kill him. As you can tell, this didn't work. So right about after this match, he's going to beat me, obviously. After this match, I officially stopped trying to do that shit, because even when I managed to make the Darkness Flame hit, it didn't do that much damage. And for some reason, if I move at all while trying to summon it, it cancels it out. It was just a bitch of a move to try and use. So right here is the edit, and right here is where the sound will go back in sync, for one thing, thank God. But also, I kind of quit trying to do the Dragon of the Darkness Flame thing. But the key to beating Bui, as it turns out, and it took me a while to learn this, is just don't get any distance from him, because he will fling that fucking axe at you and knock your blink and block off. You can't, I was like, I could do, and then I realized, well, why the hell am I trying to use Darkness Flame? That's one technique. That is one itty-bitty technique out of, what, how, you know, 20 that I have to use. And it does a lot of damage if you can make it hit. And that's the only one I have that works at a distance. All the rest of mine are suited to close up. So I was like, why am I giving him the advantage by standing back? I'm stupid. So then I just ran up and... See, if I get... Here's what I do. If I get any distance from him right here, even that much distance, it's just enough for him to throw his axe, then I crouch and guard. And I don't get out of that at any time, because if I do, he throws his axe and I'm dead. So in order to beat Bui, you have to be right up in his face the entire time. Just like this. I guess to talk about the show for a minute, so, yeah, okay, I like that move. The Fist of the Mortal Flame, that big golden thing you saw there, worked pretty well for me. But even then, as you can see, even after adopting this technique, it didn't work 100% of the time, because, yeah. Well, here's one thing the game handicaps you against. I think it would have been easier to beat Bui if it was easier to put your sword out and away during battle, but it's not. There's a combo, I mentioned this earlier when fighting Makataro or something, no, Kuromomataro. If you hit a really elaborate combo with your fists, which I prefer to use my fists and not the sword, because the sword is slower and there's a limited amount of combos I can do with it that I can remember. See, look at that, I tried the Dragon of the Darkness Flame and it didn't even work. It's some glitch, I guess, I don't know, it didn't even work. Stupid. Maybe I twitched the control stick and it canceled it, I don't know. But anyway, but as you can see, if I have the sword out, I just kind of do the same move over and over, this jump slash down thing. And so I want to put the damn sword away so I can do more combos, but it won't let me. I'm like, put the sword away. If I stop for a minute to put the sword away, then he unleashes all his combos on me. I don't have time to wait to put the sword away. So if I've gotten it out accidentally during a combo, if that was the finishing move of a regular punching combo to get the sword out, I'm like, well, fuck, now I have to use it. And I would just rely on the Fist of the Mortal Flame, because you know, I can't put this sword away. If I try to put it away, he's gonna kill me. Especially, see, at this point, I have no health left. And then he got me. There's no way, I found out, even crouching and guarding, there's no way to block against that uprise move he does, that green circle. Which I guess I'll relate to that to the show now. See, look at that! The Dragon of the Darkness Flame didn't work because I jumped. I mean, that's stupid. Do you have to hold the button? I guess you have to hold, I don't know. It's stupid. Anyway. So, as you can see, I'm back to using punches here, and that's just a lot more convenient, and cuts down a lot more damage. But if I make the mistake of... Yeah, apparently that was a ring out. I don't know. I'll take what I can get in this match. It's really hard. So let's talk about the show here for a minute, now that you kind of know what I'm doing with the fight, and it's kind of going to look the same for a while till I can finally beat him. But to finish up here, Bui is now a big powerhouse. That's the moment in Yu Yu Hakusho when it starts to resemble Dragon Ball Z a little bit, because he's, you know, powering up, and it's